I'm LeRoy Learn with Learn Defense Industries. Right here I have the TPU LDI M4. This is our M4 that is given to the specs of Klint over at Trigger Pressers Union. We built him his dream M4, and we're here to share it with you.
Boy, that trigger's nice. that trigger's nice. That trigger's very nice. This is an amazing rifle. The first time I shot it, the trigger's amazing. The balance is fantastic. Bolt lock is smooth. It's just a really, really well-built rifle. It's definitely a premium rifle. This isn't your $500 off the rack standard AR. All the accessories and all the furniture that I was able to put on it, I'm very pleased to have. These are things that I personally have put on my own rifles. LDI standard rifles are amazing as well. So you could pick up the Trigger Pressers Union version, which also has my logo on the receiver, but you could also buy the LDI and then put your own optic on it that you like. Either way, you're going to get a fantastic rifle. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to have the Trigger Pressers Union signature rifle from LDI.
This rifle does come standard with LDI's lifetime warranty on the rifle itself. If you shoot the barrel out on this rifle, we will replace the barrel. We also offer a lawful use of force replacement. If you use this rifle to defend your life or somebody else's life within the confines of the law, while your rifle is off at the police during their investigations, we don't want you to be without a rifle, so we will send you a replacement rifle until you get yours back. So you can find us on the internet. Our website is www.learndefenseindustries.com.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to have the Trigger Pressers Union signature rifle from LDI. Good.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
This episode is brought to you by Saber Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Hey, it's Matt with Meet the Pressers, and I've got my good buddy Klint back on. I'm so glad finally we're getting the mojo back. Wait, okay. Anyways, we got a good guest here, another phenomenal guest that we're bringing on from Pennsylvania, a fellow Army man as myself. So, Klint, take it away.
Well, I'm proud to announce that our special guest today is LeRoy Learn. He's an educator and a law enforcement officer and a veteran, and the owner of Learn Defense Industries, who happened to be the person who came out with the new special handy dandy Trigger Pressers Union signature rifle. So we're going to talk about that and some other stuff that LeRoy has going on. LeRoy, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you.
Thanks.
On.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
So you're into manufacturing some really, really high quality rifles, and not specifically the Trigger Pressers Union one, which we'll talk about in a bit, but why don't you talk a little bit about your Kung Fu and what you do when you build the LeRoy, the Learn Defense rifle that you have available to people?
Yeah, sure thing. So first, guys, thanks for having me on. So the way it started with me is, My first rifle that I ever bought was a Stag Arms, and this was 2 weeks after the sunset bill of the AR ban, essentially, where during the Clinton era assault weapons ban. So I went out, bought the first thing I could, and it fell apart in 3 rounds, literally just in my hands at the range. And the guy who sold me the gun was actually at the range. He's like, "What did I tell you? Buy a Colt." But I didn't want to spend, $1,500 on a Colt. But he's like, "Buy a Colt." Well, fast forward 20 years after, or 15 years afterwards, after that, you no longer have to buy just Colt to have a quality product. I found there's some decent manufacturers out there, and problems I saw when I first was looking into it was nobody was building them the way I thought they should be, or they were using either all these super high end parts, and the rifle is $3,000, and you're getting you can, that's great, you can have a $3,000 rifle, but what are you really getting for that? Or you can buy this $400 rifle and then roll the dice with whether it works every time. And each one of those rifles has its own merits and things that it's good at, that it's great at. These manufacturers that produce a $400, $500 rifle are arming more Americans than anybody else, and cool. We're all for that here. We believe in that an armed society is a polite society.
Mhm.
So I went to school and for gunsmithing, and got the VA to pay for me to build rifles, which that's cool. As far as I'm concerned, I got a couple rifles upstairs that 100% paid for by the federal government. So you can never turn down an opportunity like that. So
Sure.
I went in, got the training done, and said to myself, well, if I'm going to start a company doing this, I have this love for the AR, how to make it better, how to put the gunsmithing aspect back in it. Because if you look at a lot of these manufacturers, it's slap it together, turn around, get it out the door, slap it together, turn around and get it out the door, slap it together, turn around and get it out the door. And they train assemblers, they don't have gunsmiths doing it on their end.
Right.
You look at a gunsmith, when they do a bolt action rifle, now you're looking at 5, 6, 7 grand rifle on the low end, but it's match grade accuracy, and you're getting a lot of those things. And I didn't want to quite go down that road with things to where it price yourself out of the market with some of these rifles. So we went with a happy medium. We're a big believer in tuning the rifles, and the number one rule of the rifle is that it should work every single time you pull the trigger. I carry, like I said, I'm a police officer. I go on duty with one of my rifles. I have several guys that I work with that come on duty with one of my rifles.
Nice.
And so my philosophy is, if I need help, someone shows up to help me with that, it has to work.
Mhm.
And I take that philosophy and I throw it into every single rifle that I produce. It could be somebody coming to my door to help me, or it could be, one of the good guys that's out there doing the right thing, and they need their rifle to work. I don't want to be that manufacturer that says, well, guy pulled out one of our rifles, it didn't work. Oh, well, move on. It's not, we stand behind our products, and that's why we offer our program, warranty program that we have. So at LDI, we have a full lifetime warranty. You break the rifle, we fix it. You shoot out the barrel of our rifle because you put so many rounds down range, we replace the barrel. If you use your rifle in the line of duty or in a lawful self-defense scenario, we will send you a replacement rifle until you get yours back from the police.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
We want you to use it, right?
Obviously.
This last year ago, so we were in my city that I work with. We had a kid show up to school with a gun. So the police responded. We absolutely flooded the school. I'm looking around, and all these guys with these custom rifles that they have, or bought, and not a single one of them brought them out. What are you doing? Well, I didn't want to lose it if I used it. That's a problem. That's the problem. I don't want that in the back of somebody's mind. Hey, what happens if I use this? I just spent, especially in some of these other higher end rifles that we put together, that's a $3,000 rifle. You know, I don't want that in the back of somebody's mind. Well, if I shoot somebody with this, they're going to take it away. If you're in a scenario like that, you know that's not the time to worry about stuff.
Yeah, that'd
So,
be the thought process. If I don't use my my OC or my taser, because then I gotta replace it, and the department doesn't pay for that, and then it's out of my pocket or something, right? So
right, right.
at a
You know,
lower scale, but yeah, I mean that
correct, correct.
you don't
Yeah,
think about stuff like that. I mean, a lot of people don't think about that on the civilian side. And I tell people to get these Gucci Glocks or these, these Kimber handguns that are $1,200. That you use that, then that's going to be evidence. That's going to be an inventory. I
right.
had one student that his gun, he actually lost his gun. He left it in a backpack in the front seat of his vehicle. And right, exactly, not good. They found it that same day in the bushes down the road from his truck, but he didn't get that gun back for a year. It was gone out of his inventory for a year because of that. So, but sorry, go ahead.
So sorry. I worked with a guy here in my local municipalities I live in. He was involved in an officer shooting back in 2002. Kid came at him with a steak knife, so he put one round into him, and it was a justifiable shooting. It was investigated. He was ruled justifiable, but the court case still hasn't gone to court. The kid has not been found mentally fit to stand trial, and this was in '02.
Wow.
So his gun is still sitting in police lockup, waiting for this trial that will probably never go down because he's just not mentally stable enough to hold the trial. So that's something I've always taught my students as an instructor. Okay, when you're looking to buy a gun, you have to remember there's a few things that are very important. Rule number one, the gun has to work 100% of the time, every single time. Rule number two is you've got to be able to replace that rifle or that pistol. It's one of the reasons why I stick towards that, the certain price range that I do. I don't spend over $600 on a pistol because that's a lot of money to have a second one laying around.
Right.
I might upgrade later on through things, but when I'm first starting, that $500 price range to $600 price range, you can get a lot of pistol for that for self-defense. And that's true with rifles as well. There's a specific price range where you're starting to you might get diminishing returns on it. When you go super high end into some of these like Gucci, if you're paying more than $3,000 for a rifle, it better be doing something else for you rather than just shooting. It's it's like, I mean, if you want to shoot a mile, then yeah, okay, I can understand it. But
I mean, politicians do think that these things are not inanimate objects, right? I mean,
Right.
assault.
Yeah.
Right. So, I wanted our rifles to be as high quality as possible, to put out the best quality product, like my own life depended on it, like my family's life depended on it, because I never knew. Someday it might. So we stand behind our products. We believe in doing custom builds for people.
Nice.
We wanted to not price out the market on the custom builds, because I've seen a lot of people go out and spend $400 to $800 on a baseline M4 and then drop about $1,500 worth of upgrades into it, when you could have just bought that rifle assembled by somebody else for $1,200 to get from the get-go. Right. So to me, that was kind of where we wanted to be, and I tried to put my gunsmithing mindset into it, and my experience as an infantryman in my years of experience as a cop and going through the schooling. I wanted my rifles to work a specific way, and the primary mission is to work. We like to build. We look at it as like a truck. You're not going to buy a, I don't know. I'm a Dodge guy, so I'm not going to go out and buy a big Ram 2500 and lock it away and just shine the tires up. I'm just not one of those people. I use my stuff. I kind of beat the living snot out of my tools. But my rifle and at work gets thrown in and out of a car every single day, day after day. So it's got some wear marks on it. It's got some scrape marks on it. Our rifles aren't expected to sit there and look pretty. If you want a pretty looking rifle, you might save some money going to get one of the lower end ones at or lower price point ones, and that's probably what they're better suited for. And you're not going to spend the same as you will with some of those big names out that are out there. And well, I don't want that one to get messed up. I spent $5,000 getting that rifle to put together. Yeah, that's not where we're quite at. So our base rifles start at $950, and they go up from there based on whatever the individual wants put into them. But the heartbeat of the rifle is the same for us. We are a big believer in Springco springs. We believe that Springco honestly makes the best spring on the market. And Alan at Springco Springs, if you ever get a chance to talk with him, he will kind of blow your mind. I didn't know somebody knew so much about a spring. And that guy is awesome. He knows everything that there is to know about a spring and your gas ports. And the dude knows.
Is he wound pretty tight?
Did he play with a slinky when he was a kid? I bet he had multiple.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I had to get that in there.
A spring, a marvelous thing.
It was bugging me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that guy literally knows more about springs than I've forgotten about anything else in my life.
Wow.
So
that's good. I mean, that just shows you, and listening to your passion, talking about your, the product when you came from, and being an Army, myself, I share that spirit with you in that sense, that you really put all of the background and experience into that product, and like you're talking about the spring guy, knowing your stuff, just diving into it. Sometimes my wife says, like, you're a master of so many different things. I'm like, no, I find a passion in something, and I just try to learn as much as I can about that one thing and do the best that I can in that one thing. And or multiple things, if so be it. But I can see that passion in there. And I know one thing I've learned so far is that I probably need to I'm witty tonight, I guess.
You're on it.
You're in rare
but
form.
yeah, I think wait a minute, I'm rare form. Come on. I caught that late. But I think I need to talk to you about doing the same kind of setup for a PS&Ed lower.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You've made your rifle, and you've got a few of them out there. You've sold quite a few of them locally and around the country. And what in the hell made you want to come to me to do that? I mean, I'm grateful for it, and I'm excited to show it off. It's been a wonderful project, but what made you come to me to do the trigger pressers version?
So this was something that's always been in the back of my mind, is doing a project with let's be honest, someone that's a little bit higher up on the industry food chain than I am. Not very many people have heard of LeRoy Learn or Learn Defense Industries. And it's a way of helping, I believe, help each other build a better industry. Nice. So when I first decided to get into the firearms training, I sat there and I started scrolling through instructor after instructor after instructor, and I found Klint, and I said, all right, well, let's see what this guy has to offer. So I went and got certified through the NRA through Klint, and that's where my company first started years ago, was training. And we did training solely just training for years and years and years. And we still run our training classes constantly. Every year we put out more and more training. We even do simulations training now, which is awesome. Our force on force training I can't brag enough about that one. That's probably the best training that anyone will ever get. But yeah, so we love to train. That's who I am as a person. I love being around other guys that train, because you know the crowd. It's like, yeah, let's do this. Let's learn this. Why do we do this? Why do you do this? Okay, well, let me change this. Why do I like to do it this way? And so you get to learn more about you, about everybody else, and it's just better. So when I was sitting there thinking, I was actually going, I'm a certified bomb technician. And as I was going through the course for that, I was like, when I get home, I need to contact somebody and get really serious about building a rifle for a company and a shooter that shoots these things, that gets these things out the door, or that gets them and puts rounds through them, right? Because I'm only putting so many rounds through mine. The guys that I work with only put so many rounds through theirs. We need to get these in the hands of the people that just blow them up because they've put, I don't know, when a gun comes back to me and they've broken it, going, here, fix it. well, what happened? I don't know. I was going through, I don't know, 250,000 rounds and something fell off. Okay, now we need to take a hard look at this. And as a younger manufacturing company, I need that data point. Where does the rifle fail?
Mhm.
Because it's a mechanical device. Eventually, at some point, it will fail. And I only can afford to put so much ammo through one type of rifle at one distinct style of it, or one very specific point. I own several of them that I shoot all the time, trying to get them to those failure points. All the rifles that I have out there right now are all going through the same type of thing, but I needed more people in the industry that are high volume shooters, that know what's going on. And I was like, who'd be perfect for this? Klint. And I literally just got home the day before. I was out driving my kids and family around. We stopped at a store real quick so my wife could run in. I was like, I got to message Klint right now. This is on in the wheels. And once the mouse starts turning on something, it locks. It's like, Klint would be perfect for this. He's a shooter. He'll do it. He'll use it. And then I know you've been traveling a lot lately, so he'll get the word out to other people. Like, this is perfect. So it was, I reached out to Klint, and within a few minutes, the answer was, yes, let's do this.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I'm very Pennsylvania centric, and I know,
Right.
we've had a relationship. I know you're building the rifles in Erie, but then I found out that so many of your components are made locally.
Right.
The uppers and the lowers are made in Bethel Park, I believe, right?
Yep.
In Pittsburgh area.
Yep.
And even though the barrels and the bolt carriers are made in Ohio, they're just across the border, so Pennsylvania-ish.
Ish.
And
Do they have
I
a
thought,
patina from any like chemicals?
oh no, yeah, that's a whole other thing to talk about. That's a mess, but we'll table that one. But yeah, so you came to me with it. I'm like, this is a great idea. I told my wife, and she goes, he wants to do it with you? She said, sure. I said, fine. So
That's funny.
yeah, so this is what we ultimately ended up coming up with, and this is the Trigger Presses Union version. Now, the forend and the lamp and the grip and the optic and let's see,
That'd be illegal in New York for a civilian.
the left-handed mag release is different than what you put on your normal rifle, but essentially this is one of your rifles. I just added furniture to it, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So basically what we did is we took our standard LDI M4 with a 16-inch barrel because, NFA. We took, which is a nitrided 16-inch barrel with a 223 Wild chamber.
Mm-hmm.
223 Wild because honestly, it gives you the best accuracy when you're going back and forth between 223 and 5.56. There's a lot of people out there. You can only shoot, certain. If it's 223, you only shoot a 223. You don't cross 5.56 into it. And if you shoot a 223 and a 5.56, you're going to get terrible accuracy. So we just went with the best of both worlds. Did the 223 Wild chambers in those.
I think I don't mean to cut you off, but real quick, I think for those listening and watching out there, I think that's like the best bang for your buck, pun intended, when it comes to the 5.56 223, because you're going to get the best accuracy, like you said, in this industry now after COVID, with ammo being hard to find and expensive. You find 5.56. Well, if you don't have a 5.56, you only have a 223, you can't shoot it. And if you got a 223, you might lose accuracy if you're shooting 223 out of a 5.56. So that's genius. It's smart.
Now I know our listeners are mostly well educated when it comes to this, but let me say, you can't go to the store and buy a box of 223 Wild cartridges. That doesn't exist.
Correct.
So you can run either 5.56 or 223 Remington through the 223 Wild. Yeah.
Correct. 223 Wild is solely it's a chamber cut.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a little bit of a cross between both, but it safely chambers both. It'll safely cycle both. You don't have any weird pressure signs coming through it. Doesn't leave any weird accuracy because it's touching the edge of the case or anything along those lines. It's just honestly it's the best all-around chambering.
Yep.
So talk about the metal. You have always explained to me how the metal of the bolt and the barrel are like so much more than what's considered industry standard or mil spec. Although mil spec only means like the cheapest thing the government could buy because the contractor gave the lowest bid, right?
for sure.
Correct. Yes. No, that is 100% what
Yes.
mil-spec is.
Spot
And
on.
if anybody out there is a veteran, they know mil-spec is the lowest bidder, right?
Mhm.
It's not necessarily what's best on the market. It's the lowest bidder.
Yeah, civilians eat that up like I did. Like, ooh, it's military spec.
Military spec. How many of you went out there and bought green tip ammo to run in your gun? You know,
Yeah.
well, that stuff's great. It goes through the gun fine, but doesn't actually have really good terminal ballistics. You know, those of us that were overseas with it were like, this stuff is garbage.
Garbage. Yep.
Which is why they came up with the M855A1, which different topic there. But anyways, so mil spec. The nice thing about the AR-15 is mil spec. Its specifications falling within mil spec gives us a very much across the board industry standard that you don't generally walk outside of that. Now, there are specific times when you can and be completely okay with everything. So I like to stick within mil spec as long as I can. And then if I can justify a reason to leave mil spec on something, I will. Or if I find that, hey, this is new, it's something coming up, the idea behind it is great, let's give it a shot and see how things go. So for our bolt carrier groups, our bolts, the mil spec bolt is Carpenter 158 steel, usually a mag phosphate, and inside of a mag phosphate bolt carrier group that's been chrome lined. That is mil spec across the board. If you look across the industry standard for commercial, civilian commercial markets, you have a lot of 9310 bolts that are inside of a completely nitrided bolt carrier group. And those do okay. 9310 is a lot stronger than Carpenter 158, but Carpenter, it's also more brittle. So you're more likely to get sheared lugs with those issues on a 9310. So when we were looking at building our rifle, originally I was into the Carpenter 158 steel. That's probably the way we want to go. And then I met a guy that manufactures my current bolts, and we've had long conversations, and we just went through the whole thing. And what he was trying wanted a new steel, and that's 4340. So 4340 is the same steel that they use on the legs of aircraft landing gear. So when that F-18 is coming in and smacks into the carrier deck at couple 100 miles per hour and then rest down that tail hook, that steel has to be able to withstand much higher pressures than your AR-15 is ever going to generate. So the 4340 has a steady diet pressure of 100,000 psi. And if we know anything about AR-15s and their testing purposes, we have testing rounds that are loaded to 100,000 psi to blow the gun up. That's their specific job. Hey, let's put this 100,000 round in there, blow it up to make sure everything works right. So we went with a steel that theoretically the bolt and the cam pin will be able to have a steady diet of that 100,000 psi bursting pressure round. Sorry. The barrel at that point would be what would suffer first. But you're also looking at where you're forcing those bursting pressures at. So the AR-15 bolt carrier group is actually designed, if it does fail, to channel into the bolt carrier and down directly into the magazine, which is why if you see so many like the kabooms out there, so many of them blow out the bottom of the magazine, right? And I actually had that happen while we were building and testing. And actually one of the guns I have here with me, this one right here, little shorty 10.5 inch I built for a guy at work. The first bolt carrier group that we had in it actually blew out the magazine as I was test firing it. Scares the snot out of you, but at least the bolt carrier group works the way it's designed to. The firing pin went too far forward, punctured the primer, blew the gun up. Everything else was fine in it due to having quality barrels and the other parts that we were using. But we made the switch to the higher tensile strength steel just to give it that extra protection. I'd rather have the excessive gases going out than back towards my shooters at all.
Yep.
So,
For sure.
you know, good quality handguards will prevent anything from coming into your hand. And if you look at most of those burst kaboom rifles, luckily the AR-15 is actually kind of designed when it does catastrophically fail to push it away from your average shooter. So that's one of the reasons why we chose the steels that we went with.
Cool.
So we didn't discuss it or talk about it, and I'm curious to know, do you have your SOT?
Yes. Yep, we are a 0702. We do the things that shall not be mentioned on YouTube. We have a lot of fun with those, and
so then we really need to talk, because I have my 0702, and I'm gonna
what do you
stuff.
vote Republican and you take care of your kids and like
you go to
these things you don't speak
church
about on YouTube.
you go to church.
yes, I'm all those things on the terrorist watch list and plus.
No, that's terrible.
So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I just got my 02 in December, so I'm looking to add some stuff, but I don't want to manufacture anything, so I'm gonna have to lean on you to buy some stuff and get some stuff in my hands to blow up and shoot and fun.
Yes, yeah. When you get your 02, there's that magical little line that you don't want to cross.
Yep.
And if you don't want to pay into
tax stamps into
it's you can get your tax stamps, that there's this extra little tax that you have to pay for if you become the actual manufacturer and you're the one drilling and assembling, not just more like assembling and putting together. So ITAR. So if you don't want to get into the ITAR registration, there's a line that you don't cross with 0702, but you can still have all the fun that you want.
For sure.
ITAR's a mess.
ITAR.
There's so many aspects of ITAR that is a mess that I mean, even in training, there's implications. It's
right.
For sure.
Right.
So when we put this rifle together, we
Yes.
added some other furniture that was Pennsylvanian. This is a mostly Pennsylvania rifle.
Correct.
What did you think? When I first gave you that laundry list, I think I text you like, I want this on it. And then I want this. And you're like, okay. And I said, I think I want this on there too.
He's like, what the hell did I get into?
So of course we build a very expensive rifle because it comes with everything that you have here if you get the trigger pressures version of that. But
Right.
What were your feelings on some of the things that I had you add onto the rifle? Did any of it like not make any sense? And then you got a chance to look at it and you're like, oh, okay. Or do you still think some of it's like, I don't know why you put it on there, but I want to make him happy?
So I've never dealt with Mission First Tactical. That was my first time dealing with their product, and I'm actually testing out a lot of their magazines now. We might actually be switching from Magpul that comes standard with ours to Mission First Tactical.
Nice.
They seem to have fixed that problem that plagues Magpul Tactical when you push that little button on the side to get rid of the magazine, and it stays in the rifle. It drives me nuts to no end. Everybody's like, well, it didn't malfunction. If I push something on the rifle and it doesn't work the way it's supposed
That's a malfunction.
to, that's a malfunction.
Well,
Exactly.
hey, remember when
nobody ever counts that as a malfunction.
Yeah, remember when the poly mags first came out? If you squeezed them, all the rounds would go.
Oh yeah, I still got a couple of them.
Yeah, so they're coming along. I like the Mission First Tactical. They're another Eastern Pennsylvania company, although we're using the Lancer mags for this version. Yeah.
Lance, I'll give it. Lancer makes some high quality magazines. Those are awesome. I've dealt with them a couple times, just using them here and there, and I've always had nothing but great things to say about the Lancer mags. So the nice thing about them, obviously, is they're clear. You can see through them, and that was, hey, as long as the magazine works, that's the important thing, right? You can see what it is. I can see why you went with a clear mag, because hey, I can now look at my rifle and sit there and go, I'm generally in this area. I'm probably not going to sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's say take it out and sit there counting them. But when I can sit there and look at my magazine and I go, okay, I'm halfway full. I'm a third full. I need to get rid of this magazine, put a new magazine in. If I grab a new mag, put it in there, and I get a lull, I can look down at my rifle and go, ooh, that one needs to be topped off, or that one wasn't as full mag that I thought it was. I put it in there.
it's funny you mentioned that because in all my classes, I teach a slide lock or a bolt lock reload.
Right.
And people think that means that I tell you that you should go to bolt lock. Yeah, in training, you should go to bolt lock and slide lock so you can learn what that says. But if you have an opportunity to swap a mag out and put a fresh one in, then do it.
Emergency reload. Yeah.
Yeah, but we
Right.
should train the bolt lock and we should train to feel that so we don't go, oh crap, my gun's unloaded.
What's going on? They
You
keep pressing.
should always know that.
Yeah.
The difference between a bolt lock, if you're sitting there going, why isn't my gun working? You
Yeah.
have to look in your chamber and go,
But
oh,
the
shoot.
only way you can learn that is if you train and let your damn
Right.
gun go to bolt lock. And a lot of people don't do that in training. So
Yeah, and
Once you have to feel it.
Yeah, and the analogy I give to my students is driving a car. If you're driving a car and you hit a patch of ice, if you've driven your car enough, you can feel that back end start to sway or something, and you know something's wrong, and your response is let off the gas, maybe pump the brake, yada yada yada. Well, you're shooting that gun, bang 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 bang, click. You're gonna feel it with enough
Right.
practice.
Right.
yeah.
So
Don't
that is-
put cruise control on when it's icy roads.
No.
What? Bad idea. Bad idea.
So yeah, we going back and forth with a few other things. That was the first time I've dealt with Lancer's handguards. I seen that was so putting those on was new for me. That was definitely something I was not expecting.
Did you have to machine it or
Nope.
notch it all? It just popped on, right?
Popped right on. So the big thing is torquing them onto the right spec to where you're not, changing the point of impact for your rifle, so it's not putting any weird stressors on it, so that the barrel isn't deflecting one way, this side or the other. So we generally spec ours to the military spec for tuning down the bolt carrier, or I'm sorry, to tuning the barrel nut on. And Lancer is a little bit light on what they like theirs to be set at, so we kind of made a happy medium with it to where I felt the barrel's still secure. And it didn't change the point of impact at all. I mean, you picked up that rifle and the first round went exactly where you were pointing it. So
Yep.
as far as I'm concerned, that's good.
Yeah.
The Mission First Tactical sights on it. That was my first time dealing with their sights, obviously too. They're good.
They're just a really light backup.
Right.
That's
They're
all
good.
they are.
Just
Price
don't.
point really matches. And if you need your sight, your backup sights, they're there. If you ever, you ever need them.
Yeah,
If you have a
I
good
kind of
optic-
toyed around with not putting any backups on it because I've not had any failures with that optic, but I'm old enough to know.
one.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's one thing I like about the Mission First. They're economical. They're really well built for a polymer sight, and they just duck out of the way and they pop right up.
Yep, they're not very hard to deploy. So when you mentioned those ones, I originally was a Magpul guy on it. It was like, well, the Magpul, they're easy, this, that. And like, you want a Pennsylvania rifle? We're going to build you a Pennsylvania rifle. And when you said I want Pennsylvania parts, all I could think of is, does he know how much Geisley cost?
Yeah, I know. We didn't go there because we didn't want it to be a $3,000 rifle. That's
Yeah. Then we put out, we're like, hey, Clint, what's our price point on this? Oh, let's keep it here. Then we went this and this and this, and I'm going to streamlight on it. Like,
let's
my
bump it up.
goodness.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
Clint, I
so-
think we passed that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 2,500 bucks is what it is.
2,500. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at what's on it. If you do
it's
the
ready
math
to
on
use
it,
out of the box.
yeah, you just need to throw a sling on it and load the bitch, and she's ready to roll.
And
There were a few things that I put on that weren't Pennsylvania, which I had struggled with, but I really like the VL Tour stock,
Nice
and I
stock.
really like the Troy ambidextrous mag release. And of course, for optics, I went with the EOTech. Couple reasons. I just like the big window. It's easier to see, especially if folks have cross dominance issues. It's very, very robust. And I like the 5.52 because I can take the batteries out of my clicker and I can put it in here and I can make my damn optic run.
Careful, you're showing your age.
Yeah, I was going to say my VCR remote, but I went with clicker. It's a Pennsylvania rifle. You got to say the clicker, right?
is yours
Right.
even set?
What?
Your VCR?
Oh no, I have one. If you ever want to do a VCR dub, I can. But it's not hooked up. Actually,
Hey,
you
I
know what? I
still
do
have-
have one.
I
Yeah.
still have my Atari
Yep.
from when I was
Yeah?
a kid. I do.
That's
Nice.
cool.
That's pretty
Now,
cool.
now I'm dating myself,
Yeah.
aging myself. Well, it's been awesome, man. I'm excited to shoot that next time I'm at Klint's, and then we should definitely talk offline and see if we can set something up for the PS&Ed crew and all of our client base to see who'd want to purchase one of the PS&Ed rifles. Not to take away from the trigger presser union rifle, because get both.
It's all good because it's all LeRoy's rifles, and that's the most important thing here.
Right. We're putting out quality rifles to you guys. We want you guys to actually use them. We want you to take them out there, show your students, get your students using them, because the more data points we get, the better rifle that I can build for you guys. And with our warranty program, it's nothing you're ever going to have to worry about.
Cool.
Well,
we want to take that stress away.
And one of the things that we could do too, that now that we're talking about it, I just thought about it as far as data points, is one of our main sponsors is Mantis of the show. And we could actually strap some Mantis on the rifle and get some data points that way for you as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I want to thank you for doing this. It forced me to redo my logo a little bit. I updated the logo and got it redrawn, and it just so happened, and I wasn't even thinking of this when you called me, but 2023 is the 10-year anniversary of the Trigger Pressers Union.
Nice.
So what a wonderful way to celebrate 10 years of the Trigger Pressers Union and have this rifle come out. So, man, so I really appreciate the opportunity to do this, and I'm glad you've come on the show, man. If there's any way I can help, by all means, I'm here. And folks, check out LeRoy's rifles. You don't necessarily have to get my version, although it's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
But check out his rifles. You're going to get a really, really quality rifle, and one that's going to go bang every time. And you can feel the difference, man, when you pick that rifle up. You can really feel the balance, and you can feel the tuning of it as you run it. Like it feels like, it does not feel like your $500-ish AR out of the rack. That's for sure. It's a really high quality piece.
So LeRoy, where can on the internet people learn about you?
No.
So if you go to learndefenseindustries.com, we are there. That's our website. It has all of our training information. It has all of our rifle building, all of our gunsmithing, all of our Cerakoting. We kind of run the gambit with everything that we do. So that's where you're at. Get a hold of me. I answer all the emails. I answer, all my customers get my phone number, my personal cell phone. I work all sorts of odd shifts. So just send me a text, call whenever you can. I'll answer the phone. We stand behind our product.
Cool.
That's awesome. I'm glad to have you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care.
We'll see you guys.
Hello, my name is Klint Macro. I'm the co-founder and administrator of National Train a Teacher Day. National Train a Teacher Day is a grassroots movement of volunteer firearm, safety, and defense instructors who are pledging to give free training to those who are charged with the safety and education of our children. This free training is available to teachers, school staff, administrators, and those that work with youth in a leadership capacity. That could be clergy, rabbis, Sunday school teachers, scout leaders, football coaches, or bus drivers. This year marks our 6th annual National Train a Teacher Day, and we will be observing it on June 17th, 2023. That's Saturday, June 17th, 2023. If you would like to take advantage of different types of training, such as firearm safety training, emergency first aid training, defensive training, tactical training, feel free to go onto the website and find a volunteer instructor near you. The website is nationaltrainateacherday.com. If you would like to volunteer your time for National Train a Teacher Day, you can visit the website and volunteer as well. I hope to see you all on National Train a Teacher Day this year, June 17th, 2023.
There's a lot of sponsors that make this show possible, like Mantis.
Make sure you check them out and give them your business.
This episode is brought to you by Saber Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Thanks for watching or listening to our show.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Click that little bell thingy so you know when the next episode's uploaded. Support us on Patreon. Come to one of our classes. Host us to come to you and do one of our classes at your location.
And until next time.
Adieu.
Thank you for watching Meet the Pressers.